God is God, and that of the Peaky Blinders.
Down in a city's hollow.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Floyd AM, aka Freebase Floyd, aka Not Your Baby's Daddy, and today we are talking about the top 5 reasons that Peaky Blinders is the best show on Netflix. Number 5. Now, if you're anything like me, then starting a new show can be difficult. I don't like watching shows on regular television and cable because it's hard to keep a schedule with when the new episodes are going to be out. So that's why I didn't start Game of Thrones until the final season was announced and already showing on HBO. I like to binge shows. That's why things like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime work great for me. So you're in luck with Peaky Blinders because Season 5 was just released on October 4th, 2019. That means there's 5 seasons for you to binge watch in your own leisure, and you don't have to worry about scheduling time out of your day to go watch it when you're available or to catch it when it's on live, because it's already uploaded and ready to go. And for me, that is a deal breaker. I love being able to watch all of a show and get immersed in a world without just having one season available and then having to wait a year or two for the next season. And while the next season, Season 6 of Peaky Blinders, won't be out until early 2021, I've already seen 5 seasons of it over the last 2 weeks. I've gotten my fill, love the show, and I am excited for the next season to come out, but I don't mind waiting at this point. So that is a big deal for me, and I love it. Number 4. Just as important is the story in the show that you're watching. If it doesn't captivate you and immerse you in a world that you just want to be a part of, then it's probably not going to be a show that keeps your interest. But with Peaky Blinders, having 5 seasons already and having such an amazing story from start to end thus far, it's really something you can get caught up in and want to be a part of the Shelby family at this point. I know I sometimes imagine myself being Thomas Shelby and having to go out into the modern day world and cut deals and cut some eyeballs open, but I don't have the cops in my back pocket, so I can't do that. But that's the mark of a great television show, when it has you looking at your day and life as though you're a part of the show and how you can utilize what you've seen in the show in the real world without going to jail, obviously. So that's another deal breaker for me. Love the show, a great story. Number 3. Now, in order to take the top role on any streaming network or any TV channel as the best show, you have to have a great cast, or a cast that develops into a great cast over time. And luckily for Peaky Blinders, they come in with some heavy hitters right off the bat, starting with Cillian Murphy as Thomas Shelby. He has been in a couple of movies that I've seen, and he wasn't the main character in those. He was just a supporting character, and in those roles, he definitely did his part. He made the movie better than it would have been if somebody else was in the role, so it's great to see him here. I've seen him in Red Eye. Inception was another movie he was in where he did a great job. I recently saw the movie Anna, and he was in that movie as well. Does a great job in his roles. He doesn't stand out if things are going sour. He stands out pretty well if the movie is good. So he fills in his role very well. And in Peaky Blinders, he is the leading man. He carries the show most of the time. Then you have Paul Anderson as Arthur Shelby. He was actually in Game of Shadows, the Sherlock Holmes movie. He wasn't the main bad guy, but he was the main antagonist as far as getting shit done. So definitely love him as Arthur Shelby in this show. Always off hinge, off the cuff, ready to go into action. And then there's Helen McCrory as Aunt Polly, and that's just to name the first 3 characters that pop up on the IMDb page, which are all very strong characters in the show and acted very well. Love these characters. And then you add in just the guest starring roles from season to season, and you've got Tom Hardy. That's a great character as Alfie. He's always got something funny to say. He's very direct, just always kind of on edge. You never know what he's gonna do. And then you got Adrian Brody, who comes in I believe season 4 as the main bad guy, and he's the Italian who comes over to London and is trying to take everything over, and that culminates in a big shootout where You don't know what to expect each time he's in a scene. So definitely the cast is one of the main reasons the show is doing as well as it has. The show's been out since 2013. I didn't get onto it until a couple of weeks ago, and I'm kind of disappointed. I have that feeling of missing out on the great conversations and posts I could have seen during the last few years, but I'm catching up. So the great cast is definitely a reason for this being the best show on Netflix. Number 2. Another part of a formula for a great show is not having any setbacks or missteps or just dumb decisions that the writers, producers, cast with acting decisions make during the run of a show. And so far, the only thing that I've seen any major complaints about, or that I've had a complaint about, was the Arthur death fake out. And if you're watching these season by season and you're not binging them, you watch them when they come out new, then that is definitely something that may have driven you a little crazy. Since I was watching them back to back to back, I didn't really have a struggle with it. I kind of thought he might not be dead, but then they sold it pretty well for the remainder of that episode. Then when the next episode starts, there's Arthur again. So that's the only major misstep, and again, they recovered pretty well. Nothing negative really came from it. You don't really expect this to be like Game of Thrones, where the main characters are dying left and right. Jon died a little while before that, so we weren't really expecting to lose Arthur. I mean, he's second in command. He's the dog that's chained up until Thomas Shelby lets him off the leash. So it was a little bit of a fake out, but I didn't mind it, and this show doesn't have a lot of missteps, if any at all, outside of that one. So definitely a part of the formula for it being the best show on Netflix. Number 1. Now, by far the biggest reason this is the number 1 show on Netflix, in my opinion, is simply the family, the Shelbys. It's difficult to get into the family, but once you're in there, the only way to get out is like leaving the KGB. You've got to die. Even Ada, his sister, tried to leave, but just knowing that her maiden name was Shelby caused a lot of people to treat her differently. She was always a possible target, and then her being with the political party she was with made her an even bigger target for certain people, so she eventually just came back into the family. Not 100%, but enough to know, hey, I'm a part of the family. I have to be a part of decisions because they do affect me. She ended up losing Freddie. Then she lost the black guy who evades me because he got blown up in a car, which was disappointing. I thought that we might get to see that little mixed baby, which they haven't said whether or not she's getting rid of it, but they know a lady who does really good with that sort of thing, so you never know at this point. But the Shelbys are one of your atypical families that just make you want to be a part of it. You want to be a part of that I walk into a bar and I say I'm a Shelby, and everybody kind of looks at me like, oh, okay, we better treat him right. It's like being a Smith from the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith family. You walk in and early on you had mad respect. Now that, Jaden and Willow have done kind of their thing, it doesn't carry as much weight. You can't put out movies like Will's been putting out and consider your name still to carry as much weight as it used to. But if Robert Downey Jr. has kids, then those kids will carry a name like Shelby, where they walk into a place and people are like, oh, well, yeah, drinks on the house, everything's good. So the family it's a great family. From season 1, episode 1, where the guy says something about the Shelby mom being a whore or whatnot, and they cut his eyes out and they go into a huge war with the Lees, all the way up to anytime Alfie says something about, oh, it's just in you, Thomas, it's just in you, Tom, it's because it came out of your mama's tits. And Thomas Shelby looks at him like, man, if you don't shut up. It's just the weight that name carries travels all the way to America in the show without even one of the original Shelbys being there. Michael goes there and the name carries weight. So it's just a great family, and it makes you want to be a part of it, even though it's a fictional family. And those are my 5 reasons why Peaky Blinders is the number 1 show on Netflix. If you disagree, or if you somehow magically agree with my reasons, or think they're out of order, or whatever you think, please feel free to drop a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll have more videos like this coming out as I find more shows that pique my interest, Like I said, Peaky Blinders has been out for a while, and I wouldn't watch it just because I didn't like the thumbnail on Netflix. Finally, I decided, what the hell, I don't have anything else to watch, and there's a few seasons of this, so let's see what happens. And now I am disappointed that I hadn't been watching the show longer. But again, if you agree, leave a like. If you disagree, go ahead and drop that dislike. I don't mind. I'm just trying to improve, baby. I'm going to let it do what it do. Until next time, deuces.